transmitting to the Earthling scum. Good evening. Approximately 20 of your Earth years ago, I was sent to your planet in order to destroy it, but instead intercepted a transmission of a show you humans call South Park. I consider it the greatest achievement of your pitiful culture, and now, 20 years later, I will be ranking every season. We will start with season 11. Number 14 to 12, the Imagination Land Trilogy. My alien mind is able to perceive quality at 20 times the rate of your pitiful human brain, so I think I know what I'm talking about when I say the Imagination Land Trilogy sucks. There are some good moments, sure, but one thing that South Park can't do that well is the 2 and 3 part episodes. There are some exceptions to this rule, of course, but this ain't one of them. In fact, what is probably South Park's worst season is completely serialized. All in all, fuck serialization and fuck you.
Number 11. The List. On my planet, there is no concept of beauty, so at first I did not understand this episode. But after studying you humans, I realized that this episode is actually kind of lame. Yes, there are a couple good Cartman Butters lines at the beginning, but it really peters off near the end. The highlights of this are Abraham Lincoln and the "Are you going to eat your pickle" line, but the B story with the girls is really lame. Number 10. The Fantastic Easter Special. Like this episode, your human religions bore me. However, there are some highlights. Randy has some wacky moments. The moments in the Vatican are good, but unfortunately this episode does not produce enough consistent laughs as other ones on this list. Look Closelier is probably the highlight of this not-so-fantastic Easter special. Dispense laughter now. Number 9. Licecapades. I had to use all the power in my gigantic fucking alien brain in order to decide whether to put this or the Fantastic Easter Special at the number 9 spot. In the end, I decided to go with the disaster movie parody over the lackluster, Easter Special. The thing scene, the soap bath, and the big reveal at the end put this episode at a definite number 9. Number 8. Guitar Queer-O. I remember a time when you pathetic humans were obsessed with this video game. In fact, whenever I hear that awful human song, Carry On My Wayward Son, I still think of Randy instead of that vile and feeble band known as Kansas. The plot follows your typical behind-the-blow rock story, much like that new movie Bohemian Rhapsody. Gee, I can't wait for that to win an Oscar. Number 7. Yikes. If there was anything you puny-minded humans worshipped more than Guitar Hero, it was 300, and this episode nails it to a T. There are some hilarious lines from Mrs. Garrison, as well as some excellent racism against Mexicans and Persians. All in all, this episode is a hit, and we are definitely approaching classic territory. Number 6. Le Petit Tourette. We are almost in classic territory here, but you don't get closer than these two next entries. First, Le Petit Tourette is your typical Cartman plot, which always makes for a hilarious episode. This episode allows Cartman to say whatever he wants, which is great for some hilarious lines. The only thing that sucks about this is when Cartman starts to get his comeuppance near the end, and even though he technically never gets it, it's always better when Cartman straight up wins. I just have 2 words for you. Fuck Kyle. Number 5. The Snook. I find that racism and bigotry is one of the funniest aspects of your human culture. So, I ask myself this: is Cartman's racism the funniest part of the show? Perhaps. But what happens when Cartman's racism is right? The moral of this this episode is probably what elevates this episode to this high of a spot, complete with some fart jokes and some other hilarious zingers. Number 4, Cartman sucks. Pay attention, disgusting ape creatures. For now, we are in classic territory. A Cartman Butters combo is more than likely a hit, and this episode, while one of the weaker ones, is still a classic. Cartman does something gay and goes insane over it. Butters is harassed by his parents, and it all culminates in one big hilarious climax. Number 4, only because it's in a class with even more classics. Number 3, more crap. Bono, Randy, all surrounded by shit. The Bono scenes alone are fucking gold. The way he walks, the way he sings his own name, it's all genius. And then Randy being Randy, the meta jokes, the twist ending, pure genius, and it cements more crap as an absolute South Park classic. Number 2, Night of the Living Homeless. It was a tough decision choosing between this and our obvious winner. The way the homeless are handled in this episode is genius, but the thing that really makes it is the Cartman jumping the homeless bit. It's such a beautiful joke, from the absurdity of the act to the punchline. It alone grants this zombie parody that was made back when it was still funny to do a zombie parody absolute classic status. Number 1, with apologies to Jesse Jackson. I understand there's a certain word in this episode that's taboo for you humans. I also understand to make money on the internet, I should avoid it. However, the taboo around the word doesn't make this episode any less funny. Randy's story is downright classic, and the B story is just as hilarious, if not more. Cartman versus the midget is Cartman at his greatest, offensive and not giving a fuck. And he wins. This episode is the best episode of this season, making it the Season 11 champion. That's it for Season 11, Earthling Fools. After telling me to stop making my trash videos, leave in the comments which season I should do next. In the likely event where we get no comments, come back next week for another transmission from Jupiter. Goodbye for now, and remember, I am always watching, especially when you masturbate.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom. 7, 6, commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2, check ignition, and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door. And I'm floating in a most peculiar way. And the stars look very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin can, far above the world.